Hi, welcome back. I'm Miss Meagan, and we're going to be reading from a story that I actually wrote. It's called The Adventures of Maggie Sue, The Ponytail Fiasco. Now, The Ponytail Fiasco is what we would call a title. So that's the title of our story today. Titles are always going to be capitalized. Just remember that. Well, today, as we read, I want you to try to remember what we read. And because of that, we actually have some comprehension check questions. That just means we're going to check how much you remembered, how much you retained. That's going to be in the description below. You can find a link to those. There's 3 chapters, so there's going to be 3 sets of comprehension check questions. It's really important that we understand what we read. And that's what we're going to be practicing today as we listen to our story. I'm excited to share it with you, and I think you'll enjoy it. Let's get started with chapter 1. There once was a little girl named Maggie Sue who lived in a small, pleasant little town called Magnolia Springs. She lived in a cute little house with her mother and father, her dog Daisy, and her 2 little sisters, Hannah and Sarah. Now Maggie Sue loved her 2 little sisters and did her best to be the greatest big sister she could. She helped them pick out what to wear. She helped them get dressed. She made them soup when they were sick. She even made tea and held the greatest of tea parties for them. One Sunday morning, Mom said to Maggie Sue, "I am too busy this morning to do your hair today. Why don't you do your own hair?" Maggie Sue was beside herself with happiness. Mom never let her do her own hair for church. She was finally old enough to do it herself. She hurried to the bathroom and grabbed her scrunchie and began to brush her hair. Maggie Sue then pulled her hair into the most beautiful side ponytail that Magnolia Springs had probably ever seen. She looked into the mirror, pleased with her accomplishment, just as Mom yelled, "Breakfast is ready." Maggie Sue obediently went to the table and joined her sisters as they ate Sunday morning pancakes. "I love your hair, Maggie Sue," Hannah exclaimed. Her compliment was quickly echoed by Sarah. "Me too." "Thanks, I did it myself. Mom said I could," Maggie Sue replied as she finished her last blueberry pancake. Now that's the end of chapter 1, but I just want to draw your attention here. Whenever you see what's called quotation marks, these 2 little kind of look like little apostrophes, that means that someone is speaking. You might have already known that, but it's helpful to know when you're reading or reading out loud, if you see the little quotation marks, you want to read with a little more feeling because you're basically reading what the person actually said. All right, well, that's the end of chapter 1. After breakfast, Mom told Maggie Sue to go get dressed and make her bed, while she finished getting the other girls ready for church. Just as Maggie Sue finished, she heard her mom say, "Let's get in the car." Maggie Sue grabbed her Bible and headed towards the garage. Being the oldest, she proudly took her place in the middle seat and then turned to the back of the minivan to check that her sisters were buckled. But to her horror, she saw something that shocked her. Each of her sisters had the same side ponytail that she had worked so hard on herself. Her mouth dropped open, and before she could say anything, Sarah said, "Do you like it, Maggie Sue? We wanted to be just like you." Maggie Sue had lost all words. She quickly turned around in her seat and silently faced the front of the car. How could they? Maggie Sue tried to hold in tears and thought, "I'm finally old enough to do my own hair, and they copied me. For once, can I just have something to myself?" She was so upset that she quickly pulled out her ponytail and let her hair hang down. She didn't care if her hair was a mess or if her mother never let her do her own hair again. She could only think of how her sisters betrayed her. Maggie Sue was miserable all day. Back at home, her mom asked Maggie Sue what's wrong. Maggie Sue sat on the edge of her bed and a tear slid down her cheek. She angrily wiped it away. "They always copy me on everything. I just wanted to be a big girl and do my hair myself, and you had to help them do their hair just like mine." Mom smiled and calmly said, "I'm sorry, honey. I did not realize it would upset you so much. You know your sisters only want to copy you because they love you so much." Maggie Sue looked at her mom and said, "No, they just want to annoy me by copying everything I do." Mom quietly patted Maggie Sue on the shoulder and said, "You know what they say, imitation is the best form of flattery." Maggie Sue was confused. What does that mean? Her mom chuckled and said, "When someone copies you, it's because they love you and they look up to you. Instead of being annoyed by your sisters, you should be thankful that they love you enough to want to be just like you." I remember when I was a little girl, her mom continued. Aunt Jackie was only 6 or so, and she was obsessed with dressing up to look just like me. "It made me so upset," Mom smiled. "I remember your grandma coming home from the store with the same pairs of shoes I had bought a week or 2 before. I was so angry. I even ran to my room and cried. But my mother told me the same thing I'm telling you now, Maggie Sue. It helped me to realize that being a big sister is a privilege, not something to be upset about, especially when they copy you." Maggie Sue thought for a moment and then slowly started to smile. "I guess maybe you're right." Then she hopped off her bed. "Where are you going?" Mom asked. "To grab a hairbrush," Maggie Sue replied with a smile. And that concludes our book of 3 chapters. If you made it this far, good job. Remember, we have those comprehension check questions. If you need to answer one of the questions and you can't quite figure it out, you can always rewind this video, listen to it again, and try to figure out the answer. Remember, this will help you remember what you read, which is super important in school. Thanks for tuning in today, and I hope you have a great time and enjoy our story.